Hey folks, Adam here,
And I'm Amy.
and we're going to give you some tips and secrets for improving your cruise, particularly for you first-time cruisers. We're going to give you some of the really cool advice that we've learned after doing cruise after cruise after cruise. So let's go ahead and check it out and kick it off right about now. So Amy, what's our first tip?
So, our first tip is when you are booking your cruise, how you can save some cash. You have taught me this,
Yeah.
and we've had great success with it, is that you can price match pretty much up until the week of your cruise. So if you find a better price on the website and maybe you paid a little more, you can always call them up and get that better deal.
It's usually until the final payment, which may be about a month out actually, but it's a great way if you see a good deal and you're like, oh man, it's 50% off for your second traveler, etc., etc. You go ahead and book it. You see that the total price, let's say the total price for your cruise is $2,000. Well, next week you can call that same number again or check it online, and if you see the price being maybe $1,800, maybe $1,500, you can ask them to price match up until the time that you've done your final payment with most cruise lines, and they will accept the lower price and they'll refund you. They'll oftentimes ask you, would you rather have credit or would you like that money back? That's up to you to decide, but it's really nice and it feels really good to every once in a while check and make sure there's not a better deal going on.
Yes, definitely. A lot of times, especially if you are a first-time cruiser and you go to the website and you see there's probably going to be a countdown that can make you think, oh man, to get this deal, this is the best deal they've ever offered. It is 80% off and it's only here for the next 24 hours or 23 hours and 59 minutes and it's just going down. You're gonna see that over and over again every time you go to that website. They're gonna have some other deal. Sometimes maybe Memorial Day or Labor Day, it actually is a little bit cheaper, but don't, think that just because you bought it at one time that you can't get the better deal later. You can always price match, and that's a great way to save a little bit of money, as is finding last minute cruise deals.
Yeah, there's some really great cruise deals out there. Oftentimes you can sort by cheapest, and if you have some flexibility in your date or you have short turnaround, you can really get some great deals out there. And don't be afraid to try those nicer cruise lines, because sometimes those guys need to fill a ship too, and they'll have some impressive deals to where you can get that luxury cruise line for budget cruise line prices.
So, speaking of getting the luxury experience, another tip is bid on the suites.
Oh, the upgrades.
So a lot of cruise lines have a deal where if they have not filled their suite class, their upgraded rooms, they will send out an email, and it's not a scam. At first we thought like, oh, what is this? Like,
Right.
It's not a scam.
They call it Royal Up with Royal Caribbean, and it's through a separate service, so it did seem a little questionable.
Right.
But it's legit.
Virgin's is called Level Up, I believe, and most cruise lines will have some version of this where they'll send you an email. It might seem a little sketchy at first, but it's a legit service to where you can bid on each type of room. There'll probably be a minimum amount, whatever you would like, and you're only charged if your bid is accepted. And then you will get to upgrade for less than what the room would have cost initially. And it's a really great way to get a suite class experience, the really luxury, the high-end rooms, access to the private dining rooms and really fun stuff for a great price.
I find it fun to level up or royal up and bid on those sorts of things. So I'll pick a whatever price. We've actually done it to get the Grand Suite on Royal Caribbean, which is their 2 bedrooms, sleeps like 9 people. And so we've got that before, and it really was only like, I think it was a $600 upgrade.
Wow.
So going from a regular balcony to the Grand Suite, 2 bedroom with a kitchen, butler, and all the suite services really was worth it for us.
I'm really hoping we get our level
one.
up next week. We've
we're
got a
going
bid
to-
placed right now, and we're really hoping we get it.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear. And they usually don't tell you right till up to when the ship is launching, because they don't know how many extra rooms they're going to have up until the last minute. So they'll let you know right before. So keep your fingers crossed.
It's a fun game to play. Also, a way
Want to talk about interior rooms?
Yeah. So I think a lot of first-time cruisers think, oh man, interior room, that's probably the worst one because it's the cheapest. I don't want that one. I've got to get the balcony or get the bigger room. Yes and no. What is your experience?
I love the idea of walking out on the balcony, being able to see the sunset, listen to the waves at night, maybe go out there, have a snack, have dessert, order room service, and eat it on the balcony. On some cruise lines, you'll even have a hammock, or, if you've got the aft of the ship, you'll get to lay all the way out. There's a lot of advantages to having that balcony. But every time I've selected the interior room, one time I brought a lot of my friends, so I got everyone in the interior room, and I realized it was the best because there's no windows on that interior room. It's in the center of the ship to where your ship isn't going to rock as much.
So great for people that maybe
seasickness.
if you've got some motion sickness.
And if you're going to be staying up late, that black room lets you sleep late. And I have a hard time sleeping once I know the sun is up. So I slept my best. The 2 times I've gotten interior rooms, 3 times total, I've slept the best. The times I've got those balcony rooms, I've got to see the port. It's a nice view. But when it comes to great sleep, those interior rooms can't be beat. So don't sleep on those good priced interior rooms.
I would say it for me. I think I prefer interior or the lowest level suite class.
Yeah.
Anything in between, I think, is not worth the extra money, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I like the interior, just the darkness of it. I would also caution, if you're a first-time person, on some of these bigger ships, you might see a room that is called interior balcony. And you think, oh, that has a balcony.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a balcony.
But you're overlooking the promenade.
Yes.
In most cases.
The interior of the ship, it can be a little noisier and...
Or the park.
Maybe it's a cool experience if you really want that balcony and you like people watching, but I would say in general, not quite worth the upgrade. Yeah. And if you think that you're going to have that balcony to be able to, like Adam said, see your port and see the ocean, that is not what that is. Stay away from interior balcony.
I also, personally, I stay away from interior porthole. Because if I'm on the interior, I want it to be dark. I don't want a window interrupting my sleep. So
that's another
that's
great
my
one.
preference.
Yeah.
I love a good suite that has that walkout balcony, but that interior in the dark, that's great too.
So say your bid's not accepted and you didn't spring for suite class, but you still want to sit down to a nice breakfast. I think this is one of kind of an open secret on a lot of cruise lines, or I don't know exactly what the word is for it, but they don't really advertise it. But most cruise lines do have a made-to-order sit-down breakfast that's not just that breakfast buffet. You just kind of have to search it out.
Yeah. Usually the same place where you'll have dinner at night. There'll be a sit-down breakfast. It's the same food, but it's a little less stressful. You're not up and the food is maybe made a little bit more ready.
I'm talking about the secret ones.
Oh.
Though. Like, for example, on Royal Caribbean, the Johnny Rockets, totally free breakfast, and they make like the bacon and the eggs right there in front of you, diner style. Carnival has similar, I think it's called like the baked chicken or something like that, and Virgin has the wake, and one other place for brunch as well.
For more of a real sit-down breakfast.
For more of a real sit-down breakfast. A lot of times you might not ever know about that, and you just keep going to the buffet every day because that seems to be what everyone is doing. But if you're searching for that sit-down experience, ask around, and chances are your cruise line probably has a more private place that's still included.
You know something else that we learned the last time we were on the Scarlet Lady with Virgin Voyages?
What?
It wasn't till near the last day that you realized that the juice bar was included with your drink package.
Oh, yeah.
So
just that was celebrity.
Celebrity, you're right, celebrity. So worth noting, some of those juice bars are included with different packages. So you're going to want to feel those out, and you're going to want to check the different bars to see what's included, because sometimes they'll be like, oh yeah, you're allowed to get breakfast juice, you're allowed to get orange juice here, things in the morning that you don't think about because you don't realize those are open in the morning.
Yes, absolutely. So you know the most about this one, so tell us all about the casinos.
The casinos. Now there's a couple different things, and I will tell you a little story of mine, but the basic premise is that you're at sea, so there's no governing board at the casino. There's no gaming commission, so they can set the odds wherever they want once they're out at sea. that doesn't play to your advantage because they can crank back the winning percentage on those slot machines way back. What historically makes sense for cruise ships, and they do, is give you a higher winning percentage early on to get you playing back and forth and excited about gambling and gambling more dollars. So if you're gonna gamble, gamble in that first night, because usually the winning percentages are going to be best on day one. On the last day, they want to keep your money. They want you, and you're probably going to be bored because your last day is a day at sea in many cases.
Usually, yeah.
So that day at sea, they're going to crank the winning percentage way down on those machines. They can do it remotely and electronically. It's not like they're opening the machine because they want to keep, in to some degree, like those slot machines, they want to keep your money. So if you're going to gamble, gamble more so on day one than on the end. Also note that it doesn't take much to get a free vacation out of it. So if you're gambling, make sure to get the players cards and ask about, hey, is there any benefits? Oftentimes they'll email you, but make sure you sign up for all the players cards. The casinos also do some games to get you introduced to the casino. They'll have a blackjack tournament or a slot machine tournament, usually for a very nominal fee of like $10. They show you how to play roulette for free.
Yeah.
They have lessons on almost all the different games. Those are worth doing because they're just trying to get you in the door. They'll give you a free drink, have a good time. So consider doing those because they're very economical. And also, something I learned on Royal Caribbean is watch those table games. Day one, they had standard blackjack. Odds were in my favor. It was great. I won a good bit of money. By day two, they switched it with only a card on the table that said it's now Caribbean blackjack, which had no queens in the deck, which decreases your odds of winning because there's less face cards. And that's what they do when you're out at sea, is they take those odds down. Whether it's on roulette, they can swap out and put a 00, or they can change the betting odds. The same thing with slot machines and the same thing with blackjack. So just be careful on all of those. But if you're gonna gamble, gamble early and make sure they're tracking your gambling, so maybe you can get some free benefits like a free cruise in the future. So they give a lot of those away.
Yeah, free cruises, free drinks. And here is another tip for how to maybe not quite get free drinks, but at least get a better deal on your drinks. So there is no open container laws on a cruise ship. So it's totally normal and okay to take your drink from maybe one bar to another, or take your drink from outside the pool deck to your dinner. Totally acceptable, totally something you can do. And likewise, if at dinner, say you order a bottle of wine and you don't finish it, no problem. The bottles of wine, same thing for buckets of beer, are oftentimes a cheaper option. It's a way to save some money on your beer and wine. And what the cruise will do, they will either send those off with you to your room or wherever, or they will save them for you in the main dining hall for the next night and just put your room number on the bottle of wine, so it's there waiting for you for the next night.
So yeah, oftentimes those bottles are cheaper than individual glasses, and you can stretch them between multiple meals or locations.
So that is the totally legit above board hack to save money on your drinks on a cruise.
Is there a below board one?
There is. So this
She would know.
This might be on the, I don't know, like that. What is that red board that's like not so ethical life hacks or something? But we're far enough into the video. I think we're allowed to talk about this now, right?
So, and actually, we did a TikTok video that got over at like 500,000 views. You're allowed to bring in 2 bottles of wine, I think 750, somewhere, whatever the size is. Well, it's not uncommon that if you uncork them, take off the top, whatever it may be, you can fill them with other beverages. So sometimes if you're not a wine person and you fill it with a vodka, that's perfectly acceptable.
Who's to know?
They're not going to know. They're not going to check your percentage of alcohol or the taste of it, stuff like that.
They're not opening your bottles.
No. So I know some people are putting that in water bottles or shampoo bottles. Just use the wine bottles that they allow you to bring on.
It's much less sketchy than having the obviously fake sunscreen. Don't try that.
So anyway, folks, yeah, we've done that, and we actually made a video about it probably 10 years ago now, and it got a lot of views. People really thought it was a fun hack.
We've been using that hack, and it's always worked out for us.
Yeah. Well, we haven't done it as much lately. We've just been buying packages and stuff, but yeah.
So next tip, I would say not all shore excursions are created equally. What do I mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
So on your more expensive cruise lines, I think shore excursions in general you will find to be, in my opinion, a lot more fairly priced. They, you kind of get what you pay for in that. And I say that on more expensive cruise lines, green light, go for your shore excursions. You're gonna have a great time. On your more mass market cruises, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, things like that, your shore excursions, 50-50. Those are cruise lines that give you rock bottom prices. Like, I don't know how they do it. When you look at the prices for a Royal Caribbean cruise, it's insane. Like, to think that that's your room for the night and all of your food, like, I don't know how they do it. It's really crazy. How they make their money is in the upgrades and all of the drink package and your shore excursions and the things that you buy and things like that on the cruise, specialty dining, etc. Those shore excursions, in my opinion, are radically overpriced most of the time. It's wild. Like, some of their cabanas are like thousands of dollars just for a place to sit. It's really crazy. If you want to do jet skiing or a zip line or four-wheelers, it's several $100s. You will probably find the same exact excursions offered, whether that be like a Jeep adventure, an AT adventure, ATV adventure, whatever it might be, in that same location from locals for a fraction of the price. And you're probably gonna have a little bit more fun because it's a little bit less corporate, it's a little bit more authentic, and I would just say, know that if you don't book your shore excursion through the cruise line, that doesn't mean you're not gonna still be able to do really fun things, and maybe just shop around, see what else is out there. Chances are you'll get a lot better deal locally.
Sometimes it's safer to go with a cruise ship because you know they're going to stay there for you, they're not going to leave without you, and they're going to do safer activities because they're a big company. But it's also sometimes more fun to do it with the locals. I've done jet skis with the locals and I've done jet skis with the cruise ship, and with the cruise ship it's a boring A to B to C and back, where jet skis with locals is let's go have some fun, and that can be a different experience. Depends on what you're into.
I agree. So what I do suggest everyone do on your cruise is actually pay attention to the schedule. I am not a very type A person. I don't really like planning things out, and neither does Adam. Usually when we travel, we're very laid back. We're very like, just let's see where the day takes us and go on an adventure and not really plan things out.
Yeah.
However, on a cruise, they really plan things for you for a reason, and they give you access to this information in a little newsletter that you'll get every night. They give it to you on the app. There's so many different ways to see exactly what's going on, and I definitely suggest, I think you'll have a much better time if you actually pay attention to that. You try to involve yourself in the activities, dress up for the theme nights, go to the parties, go to the different entertainment. It's going to make your cruise a lot more fun. And there are secret opportunities on most cruise lines that are not advertised that you'll only know about if you actually go to the parties. So to get invited to the super secret parties and the fun cocktail hours and, you know, the private dance parties,
Captain's dinners,
you have to go to the sail away party. You have to go to, you know, the 70s disco night. You have to go to these things, dress up, be cool, and the cruise director might come by and say, hey, you should go to this. Like, hey, this is going on later. And that's kind of how you get in and you have a good time.
Yeah. For example, Virgin Voyages likes to reward people who are showing that they're having a good time. They want those people to be at events. They want to reward them, so they will give you special dinners and different parties you can go to at night. If they see, wow, that's a fun couple, let's invite them, and one of the performers will give them a ticket to a special event later on. So you got to go to things to get things like that. Can I give another just bit of advice? We didn't talk about this when it comes to the photography. Oftentimes, the ship photography, someone will come up to you and be like, hey, now this isn't just a one-off photo in front of a green screen.
Right.
Would you like to do a full photo set? And I just want to give you some heads up of what to expect. They have a great photographer. They'll sit you down. They'll do a bunch of photos. for 10, 20, 30 minutes. It's a nice activity. Just expect that the cheapest package for buying those photos is going to be upwards of $500 to $1,000.
Wow.
So a lot of people go, okay, yeah, I'll do a photo shoot for free, and maybe I'll buy a photo. And you see the photos, and they show them to you, and you're like, wow, and you get excited. You've been with this person for an hour, and then they're like, you can get the thumbnail or the thumb drive. It'll be $875. So just expect that if you're going to do that photo shoot, know what you're getting into.
Good tip. So speaking of, we were talking about all of the, know your schedule and have a plan and participate in the activities. Cruises are very scheduled. They're scheduled out, months in advance, everything that's going to be going on that day, including the food. So if you are on a mass market cruise that has a la carte specialty dining versus the main dining hall, it's a good idea to look at those specialty dining places, see where you might want to indulge, where you might want to spend some extra money to have that special sushi meal or Italian, whatever it may be, and then compare that with the set menu for the week that you'll be cruising in the main dining hall. You might find that there's one night in particular where you don't find anything that you really want on the main dining hall menu. Mm-hmm. And that's a good opportunity to, go to your Italian meal that night. It's always like kind of sad if you go on your specialty dining, night on Wednesday, and then Thursday you look at the main dining hall menu and you realize, oh man, we don't want anything tonight, or it doesn't sound as good. So just look at that ahead of time, and you can really optimize your eating schedule, which is important to me.
Oftentimes I like the dinners on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
So I don't mind going to the specialty dinners, the specialty dining for lunch. You get a little bit better price, and then you get to have 2 really good meals that day.
Yes.
So I'm okay with that. That's a fun one.
And I like that hack a lot.
For Royal Caribbean, for whatever reason, at some point on my cruise, I want to get some fries and a burger from Johnny Rockets, and I always wind up getting the specialty dining. They used to do a set price for all you can eat. I don't know that they do that anymore. But the Johnny Rockets experience on a cruise ship is something that I weirdly look forward to. I could do it here, but I just like doing it on the cruise ship.
It's really economical too, as far as the upgrade for Johnny Rockets is
$15 really, or something. It's not bad.
Really economical. So yeah, lunch is a great option. You will, like you said, get to enjoy kind of better food throughout the day, and it's usually less than half the price, I would say, of doing it for the dinner. So great hack.
But speaking of eating, what are you going to want to do before you eat? You're going to want to wash your hands a lot. And I think that's one of our next and upcoming topics is, there's a lot of people, oftentimes upwards of 4,000 or 5,000 people on a ship. They're from all around the world. They're going to be touching everything. So don't be afraid to bring your hand sanitizer, to wash your hands, and keep your hands extra clean, and make sure you wash your hands before every meal, which they recommend. But then even throughout the day, maybe bring a hand sanitizer with you on your keychain or something.
For sure.
Be
extra careful touching surfaces, maybe even showering off when you get in the room. Just
change your clothes.
All of those healthy habits that we learned in 2020. Practice all of them double on a cruise ship. Just be safe.
Absolutely.
So wash your hands after dinner, but when you are at dinner, you might not realize, and maybe the cruise ship doesn't totally advertise, but your main dining hall experience is all included. Like, it's unlimited, it's all there. So they might not necessarily want you to do this, but they will. You don't have to order 1 appetizer, 1 entree, 1 dessert. You can order extra appetizers for the table. Everyone's split, get 2 or 3 appetizers. We'll all, split them. Maybe you order an extra entree. Maybe you want to try 3 different desserts and you all split them. Maybe you don't want an entree at all and you want to have, a soup
and a
to
salad.
start, and then you want to have a salad for your entree. Just course it out with your waiter, and especially if you get in good with your waiter and you're friendly to them and you tip them well, they're going to take care of you, and they are going to keep whatever you want, all your entrees just flowing like crazy.
And just as a word to the wise, I do think they treat you a little differently if you get the nicer room. If you're in a suite, oh, here's an extra steak, what can I do for you? If you're in an interior room, they may not say that. So there are some real benefits to getting those nice suites. to getting just a, the little bit of upgrades. There are some niceties that come with that.
And yeah, tipping always greases the wheel a little bit as well. You kind of have the
Pre-tip.
Yeah, you have tips that you do at the end of the cruise and maybe on the last night of the cruise. But if you really want to stand out to your waiter and get that extra level of service, tipping on the first day is a good way to just kind of getting in there.
You get what you pay for.
So on the last day of your cruise, as we were talking about tipping on the last day, what else should you do on the last day?
I don't know, where are we going with it?
Buy all your souvenirs.
Oh, your souvenirs. I forgot
Yes.
that we talked about that earlier. So this was one of my tips is, and I've had fun with it, but you get a lot of deep discounts on the last day of your cruise. Those watches that were $100 sometimes are 80% off and they're $20. The different drinks and things. And I got actually a drink tip that I'll give you because I know you like those. But there's a lot of options and a lot of different things you can do. One time, I brought to all my friends, I just bought a whole bunch of those 90% off watches and stuff, and I brought everyone a watch. And it is just a good time to pick up your souvenirs on the last day of the cruise because they do all the sales on the last day of the cruise. An item may be $100 on the first day, but it's $23 on the last day. They'll have some deep discounts. So if you can, wait until the last day of the cruise to make your purchases of souvenirs if you're buying them on the ship. Now, you ready for my other tip?
Yeah, I don't know what this one is.
This is
I'm
a fun
little
hack.
scared.
Me and Watson did this one
Okay.
time. If you buy a bottle in the duty-free shop, they wrap it up to where you can't partake of it on the cruise.
Right.
But they give you that bottle the night before you leave.
Oh,
So you go buy a duty-free bottle for super cheap, get your goose,
Yeah.
get whatever you want, and then the night before you can have a blowout party because everyone's getting their beverages. Everyone, they drop it off in your room so you can put it in your luggage the night before, and they'll usually do it in the afternoon, so you've got a free night with all these bottles.
Genius hack. There you go.
So, and that's a good way to get a very good price on a cruise.
What are we gonna call this? Like this cruise secrets cruise lines don't want you to know.
Yeah, they don't want you to
And
know
I feel
this,
like
but they have to give it to you.
know any of these things.
Yeah, imagine you get duty free your big bottle for $30 instead of $20 because
our whole hallway's having a party.
Yeah. I mean, I paid
it.
$20, $30 for a single drink on a cruise ship very easily, but you can get a bottle for that.
That is fantastic. So speaking of throwing a party for your hallway,
Why not? Why don't you make some friends?
last final tip. This is kind of cheesy, but it totally is true.
Yeah.
You should make friends.
Make some friends. When you sit down, you see someone say hello, be friendly, get your Midwest friendly on, get your small town friendly on, because there's a lot of cool people that are just looking to have a good time. They've traveled around the world, they want to make friends, or they're on vacation, they've retired, they're looking to have a good time. Maybe spring break, whatever it is, meet some people.
And oftentimes in the dining hall, if you haven't been on a cruise before, you are going to be sitting, you would know this, but you're going to be sitting pretty close to the people next to you, and you sit next to them every single night at the cruise.
Introduce yourself on day one.
Introduce yourself on day one, and I think that makes dinners a little bit less awkward and a little bit more fun if you at least kind of have some casual chit chat with the person that's probably going to be sitting like pretty much right next to you.
It's a little more awkward if you meet somebody, you don't introduce yourself to somebody, and on day 5, you try to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
But if you do it on day 1, hey, I'm Adam, and then, oh, how was the excursion? Oh, what'd you do today? And that little small talk, sometimes at dinner, sometimes at the pool, you wind up having a real good friend by the end of the cruise that you didn't expect to make, and then you've got a travel buddy or just somebody that just a one-time friend, whatever it is, certainly makes it fun. I know I went on a cruise with our friend Leanne and her family one time, and they were kings and queens of that. By the time we got to the pool, they had 15 people that were all best friends.
That's great.
I think their shampoo bottle full of whatever helped with that.
I guess sometimes you can get away with the shampoo bottle trick.
At the pool, no less.
That's great. So hopefully these are some things that, if you are a new cruiser or maybe a veteran cruiser, but you learn some new things.
Sure.
I will leave with just parting thoughts on, I know that cruises can be a little bit divisive, you know? In the fact that it's either you love cruising or you absolutely hate it.
Right.
We're fans.
We're
We've
fans.
got,
I wasn't always.
Yeah, we've got a cruise coming up next week. We've got another one later in the year, and
Yeah, we got a couple this year.
I can't imagine that those
Couple
will
more.
be our last, you know? We enjoy cruising. I would say if you are someone who says, oh God, I would never. My brother is one of those people.
Yeah.
He went on a Carnival cruise, and he's sworn off cruising forever. And I'm not saying anything.
I swore off cruising after I went on Carnival as well.
Okay, so I'm not trying to say anything bad about Carnival.
Yeah.
Not yucking anyone else's yum. However, if you went on a Carnival cruise and you've sworn off ever cruising again, just know that that's a little bit, in my opinion, like going to Panda Express. And if you didn't like it, saying, I hate Chinese food. I will never eat Chinese food again.
Well, and in
it's-
Carnival's defense, that is the perfect cruise for some people. If you're looking for a party, Carnival's a great option.
Yeah, at a
you
low
want
price
a
and a
budget
party
price and a
environment.
party and a all-you-can-eat buffet. That's the best ship.
Right. But the point, just like some people love Panda Express,
Find the one that's for you.
find what's for you. If you've tried one of the mass market cruises, a Carnival, a Royal Caribbean, and you don't like it, there are other cruises out there. Don't swear off the entire cruising industry, because I think that there's a lot of products, a lot of new products that are really, really intriguing to a variety of people. And also, if maybe you took a cruise 10, 20 years ago and you got seasick and you swore cruising off because, oh man, I got sick. These new big ships
They're
have
smooth.
new stabilizing. I am the queen of motion sickness.
Yeah, you don't feel it anymore on those big ships.
And you just don't. I have had no problem on a bigger ship. So if you're someone who thinks like, man, I would really like to try a cruise, but I cruised in 95 and I got super sick and I'm never doing that again. It's just not like that anymore.
Can I make some generalizations about each cruise line has its own target audience?
Right.
And if I was to guess, I would say that Carnival skews younger, more of a party crowd, and it's maybe a little bit lower budget, but it's going to be a fun environment.
Right.
Royal Caribbean skews towards families. They put
Water
slides on it and ice rinks, and it's definitely a family environment. Virgin Voyages is more towards 30 to 50-year-old couples. Kids aren't allowed, and it's more of a nightclub type environment, but a upper echelon type.
Right.
Celebrity, from my experience, is an older crowd. Nice food. They eat early. But it's good quality. You're getting good quality, but you're with an older crowd. Yeah, less of a party though, for sure. Disney, obviously for families, big time. But yeah, every cruise ship has its own target audience.
Viking, more for a cultural experience, maybe a little bit nicer. Oceania, for that 5-star luxury.
Yeah,
There's
we need to do Oceania soon.
different packages for different kinds of people. So don't swear off all of cruising just because maybe you tried one and you didn't love it.
Everyone's a little different, and if you have a bad taste in your mouth for a certain type of cruise, try something else. I didn't like my first cruise because I was bored. I didn't have an internet package. It was before smartphones were a big thing, and I just didn't like being at sea all day just looking at the ocean.
Yeah.
Now I get that Wi-Fi package. I can play on my phone and be out at the pool or whatever, and I enjoy it more. If I don't enjoy buffets that much, I'm not afraid to just go and get a specialty meal or get the nicer cruise line that has a little bit more individualized food.
Speaking of, if you don't like buffets, I don't either. Virgin Voyages does not have buffets. It's all specialty dining and it's all included in the price.
A lot of options.
Definitely recommend that.
All right, folks. Did we have anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. I cannot wait to go on another cruise with this one. We will be leaving within the week. Probably by the time this airs, we'll have already gone on our next cruise. We got 2 more this year. We've already gone on 2 so far this year and a whole bunch in our future. So make sure to click that subscribe button for even more. I forgot to mention, we're going to do some big time giveaways. We've got some Glocal Me Wi-Fi transmitters to where you can get Wi-Fi anywhere in the world.
Even on cruise ships.
Even on cruise ships. Well, on some cruise ships. But a lot of cool stuff like that. We're going to do some cash giveaways. It's going to be to subscribers who leave comments. So you have to comment so we know how to get a hold of you. But click that subscribe button and get your chance at some of those giveaways. Read the comments below and leave us a comment with some of your cruise tips.
Yeah, give us your cruise tips, your good stories, your bad stories, and suggestions for cruise lines that we should try out next.
Realistically, this is a channel that we do for fun. This is just because we like to talk about our vacations, we like to document them. So leave us a comment and tell us a little bit about yourself so you're part of the conversation and we get to know you, because it's about meeting fun people on the internet and enjoying our vacations together. All right, folks, thanks for watching and goodbye.